One of the best villains in the series, and perhaps the best villain we will encounter, Blackbeard, is a character with many gaps in his story. The biggest of these gaps is the mystery of how he possesses two devil fruits, which we are all very curious about. In this video, we will discuss all of them one by one. First, to understand Blackbeard, we need to address what he has done. The strangest fact about Blackbeard, who begged to join Whitebeard's crew when he was just a child, emerges during the battle between Whitebeard and Roger. Future Yonkos, Shanks, and Buggy talk among themselves after the battle. I heard he didn't sleep a wink during the ceasefire last night or the night before. They say he's never slept in his life. Buggy said this while pointing at the young Blackbeard. Buggy had observed him from the beginning and noticed that he never slept. It's also a nice touch that he immediately told his closest friend Shanks. But there's an even nicer nuance. Eiichiro Oda wanted to give us this information in chapter 966. But why exactly? We can make many comments about a person not sleeping, but we can never reach a conclusion. To come to a conclusion, Oda must have given us some information about this in the past. When we research past chapters, we indeed find that there was another sentence about this topic. Did you know that people in snowy countries don't sleep? If they do, they'll die. Nonsense. It's true. That's what a guy once told me. Who, Usopp? Nope. From a guy in a bar. Luffy heard in a bar that people living in snowy countries never sleep. Of course, Luffy has only been in a bar twice in his life. Once just 200 chapters after saying these words on Jaya Island, and the other was when he hung out with Shanks in Makino's bar as a child. The bar we're interested in, of course, is the one where Shanks was present. After all, Shanks had heard from Buggy about a person who never slept when they were children. Therefore, we can say this. Blackbeard might have lived in the land of snow. In fact, I'll give you another very interesting connection. In chapter 134, as I mentioned, Luffy says that people living in the snowy countries never sleep. So what happens in chapter 133? Oda introduces a new character to us, and Dalton says this. It was a pirate crew of only 5 people. Their captain called himself Blackbeard. With overwhelming strength, they destroyed our entire country in the blink of an eye. So, did Blackbeard randomly attack a snowy land? And then, in the next chapter, as if hinting at Blackbeard, the information is given that people living in the land of snow do not sleep. This seems to confirm that Blackbeard suffered because of the land of snow in the past. I mentioned suffering, as you noticed. Not sleeping is not something a human body can handle. The last person who tried to stay awake lasted 11 days and eventually gave in and slept. Of course, this person also had to overcome many illnesses. So, in short, the chance of an ordinary person achieving this is 0. Whatever Blackbeard is doing to manage this, it definitely shows that he is different. Marco also confirms what I'm saying. It would be impossible for a normal human, but you should all know that Teach is a little different. The very structure of his body is strange. Is that how he pulled this off? Don't misunderstand. Marco is not responding to me, but he is confirming my argument, though he is answering someone else. The person he is answering says, it shouldn't be possible to have 2 devil fruit powers. This is perhaps the biggest mystery regarding Blackbeard. Somehow, he managed to take that fruit from Whitebeard. So let's look at what he did one by one. Blackbeard covers Whitebeard with a pitch-black sheet and then goes inside. When he comes out, there's no apparent difference in Whitebeard, but Blackbeard can now use Whitebeard's power. Saying this is impossible may seem accurate, but it's definitely wrong. Because if you know how devil fruits work, this is definitely not impossible. Devil fruits work exactly like this. You eat a fruit, and then the fruit spirit binds to your singular soul. When you die, the fruit spirit leaves your singular soul and enters another fruit, turning that fruit into a devil fruit. So, devil fruits essentially reincarnate. The key point here is, how long after the user's death does the fruit spirit leave the body? If the fruit spirit leaves the body immediately after the user dies, we can bring different perspectives to the Whitebeard incident. However, Luffy's Gear 5 clearly shows us that the devil fruit spirit can stay in the user's body for a while after death. After all, Luffy had died during the rooftop battle but was able to come back to life thanks to his fruit. Therefore, the fruit spirit stays in your body for some time after death. This is why Blackbeard's crew immediately rushed to Whitebeard and prepared to take his fruit after he died. The point we should focus on is the use of a pitch-black sheet over Whitebeard, meaning no sunlight can reach inside. As you know, this corresponds to his Yami Yami no Mi, which can absorb everything. So, he must have done something with the Yami Yami no Mi. The darkness is an attraction, a force that pulls everything in, so dense that it can even pull in light. If the fruit spirit is still in Whitebeard, Blackbeard might have drawn the fruit spirit into his own body using the yami yami no mi when no sunlight was present. When you hear this, don't say, "No way, that's ridiculous," because Blackbeard already does this when he fights. During his fight with Ace, Blackbeard caused significant damage to Ace without using haki. Blackbeard explained this power as, "The other thing my darkness can suck in is the devil's power." So yes, what is being described here is the pulling of the devil fruit spirit and stripping the user of the devil fruit power. If Blackbeard can do this to Ace while fighting, he can also do it to Whitebeard, who has the devil fruit spirit in his body after death. And by pulling that spirit, he can bind it to his singular soul. As you noticed, I've been saying singular soul all along. The devil fruit spirit binds to the soul in your body. So, if you have more than one soul, you can eat more than one fruit. This is why I provided additional information about Blackbeard at the beginning of the video. Not sleeping is not something a human body can handle, just as eating 2 devil fruits isn't. So yes, as Marco said, there are abnormalities in Blackbeard's body. He's not a normal person. Pirate flags give us information about the captain of that crew and are usually related to the captain. Big Mom's flag represents her personal appearance, Whitebeard's flag represents his mustache, Luffy's flag represents his hat, and Roger's flag represents his mustache. In general, flags are always related to personal appearances. However, Blackbeard's flag has a feature that stands out as very strange in this context. When we look at Blackbeard's flag, we see 3 heads, and this has nothing to do with the current Blackbeard, but it doesn't mean it won't. Many people say that each of the heads represents a fruit, and that Blackbeard ate 3 fruits because he consumed the Cerberus fruit in the past. This could be true. Blackbeard's soul might have multiplied due to any zone fruit he ate in the past, which allowed him to eat 2 more fruits. But we need a more grounded theory. So, we need to move a bit beyond the flag, meaning personal appearance. In the series, who is the closest character in appearance to Blackbeard? Yes, our beloved Kuma, who belongs to the Buccaneer race. Their hair, body type, and skin color are really similar. In fact, Blackbeard doesn't just resemble Kuma, but also resembles Kuma's father, Buccaneer Clap, in body type. His body is much larger than his arms. Not just their appearance, their endurance is also similar. We know that Kuma is very resilient thanks to his race. My size and bulkiness will help me survive longer than most. Similarly, Blackbeard is an extremely resilient character. While the Yami Yami no Mi pulls everything in, it also draws in the attacks he receives more than usual. So when Blackbeard is supposed to take damage, he takes 3 times the damage, and the pain is much greater than normal. One of Blackbeard's statements on this subject: "A rational man like Blackbeard ate this fruit despite its great disadvantages and endured incredible pain in his battles." So he is very similar to Kuma's race, both in phenotype and endurance. But there's another very interesting similarity. In Chapter 1104, it is mentioned that the self-destruct mechanism installed in Kuma by Vegapunk has been activated. According to this mechanism, Kuma would enter a vegetative state since he lost his personality. However, Kuma's body responded in a completely different way. Despite losing his personality, Kuma left the Revolutionary Army and came to Bonnie in Chapter 1104 and embraced her. Vegapunk reacted by saying, "It's said that Buccaneers were said to have a special characteristic beyond their strong bodies." A special characteristic? Is this something similar to what Marco mentioned? Could this be related to the fact that if Blackbeard is indeed a Buccaneer as we suspect, it allows him to consume 3 devil fruits? Absolutely. As I mentioned earlier, to eat 2 devil fruits, you need to have more than one soul. Yes, you've erased Kuma's personality. In other words, his soul through the self-destruct mechanism. But there was something you didn't know. Kuma didn't have just one soul. This is precisely why Kuma, despite having his personality and soul erased, was able to come and save Bonnie. This also very well explains why Blackbeard doesn't sleep. Yes, Blackbeard's body doesn't sleep, but because he has more than one soul inside, he never struggles with this. We now understand that Marco's statement that he's not a normal person was referring to Blackbeard being a Buccaneer. Yes, he's not normal. Because, as Vegapunk also mentioned, Blackbeard belongs to a race that has a different characteristic in their body, one that is exceptionally resilient, capable of holding multiple souls. If you look closely, you can see how similar Vegapunk and Marco's statements are. That's because the same words were used in Japanese. We all agree that Blackbeard is the only true pirate in this series. He loots, steals, sells, and does business. he takes his name from the real pirate Blackbeard. While Luffy is described as Brazilian, Sanji as French, and Zoro as Japanese, Blackbeard is considered Somalian, which is known for its pirate culture. The name Buccaneer was actually given to a type of pirate crew that operated in the Caribbean Sea in the 17th and 18th centuries. In past centuries, one of the most important pirate literature writers in history, Ralph Delahaye, wrote a very special book about Blackbeard and his journey. Guess what the title of this important book in pirate literature was? The title was Blackbeard Buccaneer. The idea of Blackbeard being a buccaneer or having multiple souls not only explains why he doesn't sleep, how he consumed 2 devil fruits, but also how Kuma went to save Bonnie. However, this theory reveals an even more significant mystery. Hey, do you think he knows something about Sky Island? I wonder who he was. I don't know, but it's not him. Not him? Then what? It's them.